AI, the freshly crowned ruler of tech innovation, revolutionizes UI design every day by automating tasks, generating prototypes, optimizing layouts, and personalizing interfaces through real-time user insights, enabling faster data-driven creativity. This is November 2024 and I'm testing the limits of what's possible for UI UX design with AI using every AI tool I can possibly find to design a photography website. Unlocking secrets yet to be discovered. The question is, will AI's magic go beyond our imagination? Will it take over the world of UI UX design? What's even possible with AI? Will AI ever be good enough to replace a UI UX designer? In an attempt to answer this question, I'm opening up Figma, creating a new design file, and getting started on my adventure. Feel free to follow along, and the first thing that I'm going to start with is Musho AI. Musho is a tool by the great Pablo Stanley, and it claims to do a majority of your UI design work. I've taken in a prompt, and I'm just waiting for Musho to complete loading up a beautiful prototype. As you start to scroll, all of these sections are very, very well organized, and you would get a lot of this in professional UI design, so I'm really happy with the way they've sort of divided the whole thing for us. I love the yellow that it has just paired with the black. I also like the fonts that it has used. Serif fonts are difficult to pull off, but it does do a pretty good job at making them work. I have my doubts about the spacing, especially on the left and right, top and bottom, but that can be adjusted really, really well with auto layouts. One of the best things with Musho is it relies heavily on auto layouts to get sizings and everything working perfectly. Once you know how to use auto layouts, you can very easily edit and create a very, very nice looking website for yourself. Before I touch any other second tool, my very first concern is just to try and get as much stuff that I can get to look good just by adjusting the auto layout spacings, trying to adjust the background foreground colors a little bit, changing the font sizes, just doing the most basic things I can do inside of Figma itself and try to adjust as much as I can. And now I'm going to use colormine.io, which is an AI powered tool to generate color palettes. To get my color palettes for this site right off the bat, I have to make sure that I'm putting in the yellow that this Musho prototype generated for us, because I like the yellow with the black, and this black on the site isn't a pure black either. It is a very, very dark shade of gray, which is almost going toward black, and I want to keep that. I also want to keep the light shade of black that I made for the pricing features section. So we have colors that we're going to use and we're sure of them. You can also scroll around to find Pokemon and fall and all of these different variations and plays on your usual color palette. The next thing we need to take a look at is our fonts, and for fonts I'm using FontJoy, which is again AI powered font generator, super duper cool. Initially Musho generated for us Liber Baskerville regular and Liber Baskerville bold for different positions inside of our app landing page, and now I want to get a third sans serif font to go along with these serif fonts. If you don't like the sort of fonts it's generating in terms of similarity, you can go ahead on the top right and move around the slider to get the level of similarity or dissimilarity that you want. I have found a font that I truly like now, which is Hind Siliguri, and I'm sort of going to lock this now and keep Liber Baskerville bold, but I just want to get rid of Liber Baskerville regular because it just seems repetitive. And now we're going to try to generate a third font. As good as they look together, Liber Baskerville and Hind Siliguri are quite dissimilar fonts, so I want a font that balances them out really well together, and I'm going to put my slider to right in the center because you want things to be balanced out now, which is also why we're generating the font in the middle. And I have finally perfectly found the font that I truly like, which is Source Serif Pro. Now that I have all of the fonts that I'm going to be using for this one, I'm going to start by adjusting the current fonts that we have into the fonts that we've generated, and also creating typography styles so we can reuse these font styles quickly. Speaking of the text that we're using here, the description looks way too light and I want some great copy text to be here, so I'm going to use our fourth AI tool of the day, ChatGPT, which is honestly the best tool right now that you can find for all sorts of description text. I'm just going to get what I think works best and add that to our site. And now that I've added that text to the description, I'm going to add color to our title using our signature teal, and I'm also going to change the color of our logo from our color palette. Next, we're going to try and change colors and fonts in our pricing section. The basic package price card needs a lot of fine details that we need to take care of. For example, we need to have a different color to highlight the rate and also change the call to action button to be very, very similar to our original call to action button in the hero section. This just gives all of our whole site a really, really good sense of being tied together. And we'll also adjust auto layouts for all of our different sections just so the padding and margins look on point. All of these are different services that the photographer offers, and so all of these need to be highlighted with a different color, and this is where colors from our color palette are going to be very, very useful, especially the bright ones. We're going to change the color of our icon and also one of the words of our title. So this is the most important word in our title, the one we need to highlight, and we're going to change its color as well. And I'm also going to make sure the pricing container over here is perfectly aligned so our price appears in the center. This is again one of the things that we need to take care of using our auto layout. This next section talks about everyone who's trusting our brand. We're going to try to experiment with all of the bright colors we have, the teal, the green, the yellow, and see what works best. Green gives intrinsically a deep feeling of trust that no other color does, that and communication, and I think this is where green shines best. Alright, for the testimonial section, I'm thinking about adding a stroke to the user avatar and changing the color to a very bright color from our color palette, just so the first thing that the user sees is definitely our avatar. And now we're changing our portfolio section to be very, very well adjusted with the layout that we're going for, and add a color to the title, of course, change the font for our description, and changing the fonts and text color for the call to action button along with its arrow. So we're sort of alternating between the colors. The first one has to be yellow, the second has to be green, and the third has to be our teal, and that just sort of loops around to create this wonderful cards alternating effect. And at the very end, we have to take care of our footer. Again, just like our testimonial section, we're making sure the background is a light shade of black that we're using from the color palette, and all the links are very well adjusted by using the auto layout. We're also changing the font family of our link headers, and that definitely contributes to the widths changing a little bit, but auto layout adjusts that so well. For the photographer's name, I'm going to use Content Reel. This is a plugin in Figma, and you can change the photographer's name with it. You can add names, emails, everything else you need. And so I'm just going to really quickly add a photographer's name, adjust the spacing and everything else to go along with it, and that is it. Check this out, you guys. I am so pleasantly surprised by the site that we have, especially the colors and everything just working out so well. The major aspect that we did have to work with a little bit was the layout and spacing, but thank God for the auto layouts that Musho relies so heavily on. Spacing and padding and all of those adjustments were just so easy, and I am really surprised at how well this turned out. The result is extremely amazing compared to my own expectations. This is truly something that you would very quickly be able to publish to production. What they've created for us is truly awesome.